All right, we're here live. Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports Emergency Podcast. What was it? News broke about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. Jimmy Butler, gentlemen, the rumors have been swirling that he didn't want to go because he wouldn't take the extension. They trade for him, giving up Wiggins in the deal, Schroder as well, Kyle Anderson, and they also sign him to a 2-year, $121 million extension. McGurk, your thoughts on the trade here?
I mean, I'm glad they didn't play dead for the rest of the season. Like that was my baseline. Like they at least did something, so I'm gonna give them credit for that. Well, I don't think this something is a good move. I like paying a 37-year-old Jimmy Butler $61 million on his last year of his contract is not gonna go very well, and we know where it's headed. Yes, but at least they did something. Like, so I give them that. They have something. They did something. Like, Dunleavy proved he could at least not play dead. That's my biggest takeaway is the pluses. And then the negatives is like Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steph, they're all 35 plus. I don't know how it works.
Case, what do you make of it? Do you think this is the right move, or are you kind of frustrated by it? What's your thoughts to Butler getting traded to the Warriors here?
So my initial thing when I texted you guys right away, I was like, I don't like it. And Tyler said the same thing, but then I saw he signed for the 2-year extension, and I was like, okay, I can live with that because the only thing I was thinking maybe they're going to rent him for the half year and then just get everything off the books and. Maybe they're just going to go overhaul and just, Steph is gone. And so I was kind of sad. But then I saw the 2-year extension and they didn't give up Kuminga. So that was a positive.
That's a big plus.
Kyle Anderson, the veteran, I mean, it is what it is. He wasn't, he's just kind of a role player. Wiggins, hats off to him for a great Warriors run with us, getting that one ring. We would not have won a championship without him.
Absolutely not.
But, the protected, I believe it's a top 10 pick. We'll see how that goes in the future. But as of right now, like Tyler said, they made a move. They did something. It was getting a little hard to watch the team that we had because we all
it's getting very hard.
we all knew it was going to be a playing game, and most likely they're out, just like they were the last year or so. And then I like the move. We'll see what goes forward. What kind of pieces they put together around those 3 guys. But for right now, I'm pretty excited. I actually got a couple phone calls from a few people. They're like, Butler, you got to be happy. And then my mom texted and she's like, I hate it. So
good for Pam. I appreciate Pam's honesty.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, Wiggins had been playing a little better, but as we know, he kind of goes up and down, but I don't know. Like, I guess if we can get Butler to the playoffs, that's the saving grace here, right? But like Tyler said, like it's still not enough. I don't feel like it's enough. Do you, Tyler? Do you feel like this is enough to take?
No, I don't. Are we even guaranteed? We're not guaranteed to make the playoffs this year. I wouldn't be excited. I just am. This era is. It's as much as you want to prolong it by adding like a third, and this is gonna come off rough and probably like. You're a hater of the Warriors, and I love the Warriors. I love Steph. Just blow it up. It's time. We're adding 35-year-old 2-year extensions on $121 million. Like, we don't have enough. Steph, you are the best Warrior of all time. Go your legacy further and become the greatest point guard of all. Like, even further your case for being the greatest point guard of all time. I think it's time to just let this be what it was. And I know a lot of Warriors fans will disagree. Oh, he is bigger than the franchise. I'm not going to disagree with you, but that just puts you in the position the Giants have been in the last 15 years that people have been complaining about. Like, oh, so we're cool with this franchise being idle, but not this one. I wish they just blew it up. They went with Pods, Kuminga, and Poach, and we suck. And we just suck. Like, I understand we suck. I'm not, like, saying, oh, they're great players. And you build through the draft and you figure something out. Maybe one of those guys or 2 of them turn into, like, good NBA players. Because you're not winning now.
I don't know.
Tyler's reception is kind of how the Warriors have been this year.
Yeah, exactly. In and out.
But we do get the point.
Yeah, they are.
You understand what
That's a good one, Case. I like that. Good job.
But there's not a lot of up to it. They're a 10 seed with Jimmy Butler.
Hey, you loved him the first 10 games, buddy. That was a big.
I did like him the first 10. Since then, I've come to the realization they suck.
I don't know, so Butler's an odd move. It's obviously a Hail Mary move. It feels like from a Warriors standpoint. I think the fan base, I think they would have been very frustrated if they just didn't make any moves. I thought that's where they were headed. I thought Dunleavy, he wasn't going to be able to get anything done. Like you said, though, Case, I guess the one positive about the trade is they did not have to give up Kuminga in the deal. Not saying Kuminga's a great player, but it'd be rough to give up like two wing assets at the same time. Like you give up Wiggins and then you have to give up Kuminga at the same time. So I am glad from that standpoint that they didn't have to give him up in the deal. I don't know. I just feel like this is a playoff or bust move with Butler. Like, I don't know, like the 2-year deal. Everybody's like, oh, he signed a 2-year extension. Well, yeah, the 2027. So it's not like that long of a deal that in the grand scheme of things. Basically, it tells me, based on his history, can he give us a half a year this year, less than a half a year, and next year? And then probably going into that offseason, if nothing positive comes, he's going to demand a trade or something else is not going to go awry. So that's kind of what his history tells us too, right? So we can't be blindsided by something like that.
Well, and the thing, it fits Steph Curry's timeline. I mean, he's got the 2-year contract. Butler's got a 3-year contract. I believe Green's around that time.
Damn it!
Let it go.
It gives them an opportunity, I think, in Steph, and I think he can validate, like, okay, the organization tried to do what they needed to do to get me help, because people are saying he's having his worst year and he's getting washed and he's old. It's like, well, no one else can score, so I mean, he's getting.
That's the one thing Butler does give him, is they can score. He can score consistently at times. That right? That would be the biggest thing, and he can defend. And he can defend still at a high level. But is losing Wiggins and Butler, like, is Butler way better than? I don't know. Like, I think he is, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you make of that?
I would love to say Butler's more consistent, but because Wiggins been up and down as well. But maybe Butler feels, just getting out of the Heat organization, getting done with all that turmoil and just all the outside noise, where he's just wants to play basketball. I think that's the main thing. He wanted to play basketball. He wanted to get his money. He got both. He gets to play with a Hall of Famer, 2 Hall of Famers, and now go do your thing. What you did with Miami, play 75% of the regular season and save it all for the playoff.
Now, do we trade for Vucic and give up 8 first-round picks or something like that? Do we have to add it to
the Kings?
The Kings.
No, what you do is you go get KD. You say
he said he doesn't want to play there.
I don't care. We have Jimmy here. You wanted Jimmy.
It doesn't work like that.
Now we have 4 good players.
He doesn't want to come here.
What's Vucic going to do? It's a contract. You trade for him, and he's stuck. Vucic isn't doing anything for you. Quentin Post is as good as Vucic.
What was KD's comments? They were pretty strong today on not wanting to play
just
for the
said
Warriors.
he has no desire to play.
No desire. That's a pretty strong statement.
Well, when you're getting paid and you're under contract, maybe that desire, I'm not going to sit out.
Well, they don't have anybody to trade now. They don't have anybody.
What do you mean? They have Kuminga, all the picks they didn't trade.
They
have more now to trade.
What contract, though, matches KD's at this point? Butler's?
Yeah, you can't trade Butler, though. That's like against the NBA.
They don't have any contracts.
Draymond for
Draymond.
that would be funny if they went full circle like that. So obviously you're joining us here, Emergency Pod. Butler, now a Golden State Warrior. The guys and I are just discussing what it kind of looks like moving forward without Wiggins a little bit. Right now they're playing the Jazz, tough game. Looks like they were ahead here when I last checked. So with that, but I wonder how much the All-Star game played a factor in this too. I was just hosting it. Like, I don't know. I always kind of curious if I don't know. I just, if the game was in somewhere else, would they? They're gonna have to come. The whole NBA world's coming here in 2 weeks, basically, or next week. So I'm curious how much that mattered as well, or if they even thought that drove them even harder to want to make a move. So Butler signs that $60 million. That's crazy. That just seems insane.
What are your thoughts, Darren, going forward? They have a chance to do anything, or it's a terrible trade.
I'm not a big fan of the trade. I do like that they did something. I'm just not a big Butler guy. I think that's kind of what it is. And you can say, well, he's one. I get it. In the playoffs, this guy is. I mean, I really do like Butler, but I feel like he does have a track history of just basically. I look at it as they have a year and a half with them, and then all hell could break loose, basically. So that's prove me wrong, Butler. I expect some honeymoon games here. I expect to have a little give there with it, like I said. So. But overall, I'm kind of not really a fan of the trade overall. So it is what it is. I'm just not I just didn't think Butler was enough for us to worth trading for. That was my thing. So
it's kind of funny. I was thinking, last time we were talking a little bit about this, and I think it was me and you generally. I think Darren were, stay strong, Pat Riley, and then he gets traded to the Dubs. I'm like, well, if you're gonna get rid of him, I don't mind if he comes our way.
I still wish he would have. I think that's part of it for me. Maybe is I wish that I just don't like that type of thing. That stuff doesn't rub me the right way. But yeah, you're right. He's on my team now, and he forced his way here. So maybe that's a positive in that way is that we get him and he forces us. He forces us to be more competitive.
Do you guys think do you think it's try this year as hard as we can, and next year we're gonna really go all in? You think this year was just to keep Steph satisfied and let him
feels like it.
They're trying.
Feels like it.
That's kind of how I took it.
I think he was getting demoralized. I think he felt like somebody that just kind of knows he's running up against. What's the saying, right? Between a rock and a hard place. That's what it seemed like. He was between there, and so this gives him a little. This does give them a little life. That's for sure.
I just don't see the life. I feel like it puts them in the same spot. They're just paying another guy at $60 billion.
I think it gives them more life than doing nothing. It gives them more life than doing nothing.
Blow it up.
It's not gonna. They're not gonna trade Curry, man. It's just like it's not gonna happen on.
Then we're gonna suck until he retires.
I mean,
that's kind of what I think.
Don't you assimilate a little bit? I was thinking about this to like Barry Bonds towards the end of his career. The Giants were never going to get rid of him. They were trying to do everything they could in their power to make sure they could try and win a championship with him. I know Steph's got 4, but Jimmy doesn't have one. He's been to the finals twice, but do you think it's anything similar? Or it's like this Steph Curry's been there you're hoping he'll stay there for his whole career. Do you think this is just something? Prove to him that, we don't want to let you down. We're going to do everything we can to make you happy.
They should.
I think the only similarity is they're both unbelievable athletes at their certain sport. Like Barry never won a championship, and they didn't put anything around him after Jeff Kent left. Like there wasn't many players coming in that you were like, oh, these are great baseball players where the Giants have a chance to win a championship. He was only draw. And outside of San Francisco, nobody wanted Barry Bonds. People want Steph. Steph is still a draw. Like he'd become like in another area, the biggest player in that area, like he has for the Warriors, even at 35 years old. Barry didn't have that draw because of his personality and the steroid use and
but that came out later. I mean, people suspect it.
Yeah, no,
or the end of his career too.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I get it, and I get what you're saying, Tyler, about they should trade him. I don't see that ever happening.
They don't have the balls to do it, and I agree with you.
I wouldn't either. I would. He's
why though?
He's your money maker. He's your money maker. Like he's the guy. Like you have a superstar. You have a once in a lifetime guy. You're making money off of him, and he's still a good player.
Tyler, do you think Mike Dunleavy's like, I'm not going the Nico route? I just saw what happened.
That's what I told him. I said, could you imagine Mike Dunleavy's career with the Warriors, and then he's the guy that ends up trading Curry? I was like, that would
he should have been brought in to be the most hated GM and the most hated player in the last 30 years.
Well, maybe Jimmy Butler will have Steph requesting a trade here by next year.
Draymond and Jimmy are going to be fighting it out in 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness! Green gets a right hook to the face. You're out. All right, so you got that. You said the Kings, they get Vucic. They're going 10 years deep here with a weird team. Let's see if they can.
They got
what was it? I thought the guy from the Bulls, Casey.
The guy from the Pelicans.
Well, no, they got Vucevic, and then the Kings got Vucevic, and then they got DeRozan, and now they have Zach.
The Kings traded for Vucevic for him.
I thought they traded for Jonas Valanciunas.
Valanciunas, excuse me.
Okay, that's a whole different player. Yeah, that's
I
a
got
whole
it. I
different.
got it totally mixed up because DeRozan and Valanciunas played on the Raptors championship team, right?
Yes.
DeRozan was
right.
not on those
Excuse me.
teams.
I got them mixed up.
I don't know if Valanciunas was on that team. I know Gasol was
I don't
on
think
that
he
team.
was.
for
No,
sure.
DeRozan played with Valanciunas.
Yeah,
He
they
might
did
have.
play together.
I don't know if he was on the championship team. I do know that. I know Gasol was.
That's why I texted you guys like they brought the 2014 All-Star team back.
Yeah, they got it back together. But I'm sure we'll have a lot more to touch on this Sunday. Any kind of final thoughts on where you guys see this before we call the emergency pod here, and we'll kind of look forward to Sunday, see how we get a few games under our belt before the All-Star weekend.
I appreciate that the Warriors didn't play dead, but the NBA track record shows bringing in 35-year-olds is not the way to win a championship. So I wish they just blew it up, but that's just my personal opinion, and everyone has a right to feel the way they want to. And a lot of Warriors fans don't like me for it.
Case?
Couple last things. Man, how pissed is Adrian Wojnarowski? He's like, damn you, Shams. Woj bomb. Shams is dropping nukes out here.
Yeah, we got Luka coming news.
In general, I think it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be more watchable.
Absolutely.
At least I know that they're trying. I was sick and tired of just seeing the same old Warriors that they don't have any offense. Now it's a new look. It might be the same record-wise, but at least it's a different look. It's a new outfit.
Well, it'll be interesting. It's, like I said, the best part is they didn't have to give up Kuminga in the deal. They held on to him. They held on to him. Schroder, for me, who cares?
Good riddance.
Anderson, who cares? Like I said, it's not even like they traded Wiggins for Butler. It's just I just don't know. Casey said I hear Casey's argument where I'm like, oh, they do have a new piece that will be a little bit exciting too. But it's like I don't know. There's also a part of me that like where I'm with you, Tyler, where it's like maybe it is just time to blow it up. And I don't know if this is the year because they already have like 22 wins and it's just not going to be enough to really make a difference in terms of the lottery stuff and stuff like that. And they don't even have. I don't even know what their picks look like this year. If they even
It's a
have
deep draft.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I kind of look forward to kind of talking more about it with you guys on Sunday after a few days have kind of sunk in a little bit, kind of maybe seeing the game or two. Oh, I know the All-Star break's right around the corner, so maybe literally a game or two, and then kind of evaluating it from there. But like you guys said, at least Dunleavy did something, and maybe they're a little bit more watchable from this point on with it. So, all right. So emergency pod there. We'll be back on Sunday. What case?
Do you think Dunleavy took his shirt off after he made that trade?
He ripped it off.
Threw it off.
He had the sweatiest pitch through that like undershirt on the coat.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I wasn't a hard ass. I even took my shirt off one time. I got ejected one time doing it. You've never taken your shirt off in a game. Yeah, exactly. You rip your shirt off when you get ejected. Then you tell me you're tough. All right. Well, all right. Good show, guys. A little emergency pod there for anybody. Hope you guys can leave some comments there in it as well. And we'll be back with you guys Sunday morning. So for Casey, Case, good to see you, man. Glad that you jumped on with us. Looking there, Case, Tyler. Good idea getting us on with it. And then we'll see you guys on Sunday to break it down.